Oh, hello, Spirit House here again. I wanted to talk tonight a little bit about working with the elements, the four elements earth, air, fire, and water, and how much joy and therapeutic value it has in life from my experience. This is also a little bit of a rant on how much I love blacksmithing and working with fire. But um, anyway, I've worked with, I swim a lot. I work with water. I'm a double water. I have all four elements in my chart, birth chart, but um, I have like double and triple of three of out of four of the elements. And um, working with fire was probably my favorite. I developed a love affair with it. It started when I always loved camping and campfires a lot. When I moved to Arizona, my father-in-law at the time, ex-father-in-law, and he's passed away, rest his soul, you know, but he was a wonderful guy. And when my ex-husband and he was my husband at the time, of course, moved to Arizona, my father-in-law took us both to a class that he took at night, and it was blacksmithing. There was like at the college in southeastern Arizona there was a man who had been an artist blacksmith for a number of years, but also he was a professor of metal fabrication, blacksmithing, foundry, and welding at the college there. And so we got to visit as guests one night, and we were able to work in the shop, and I like made some crude object the first night, but I loved it. I absolutely fell in love with it. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do this. So cool because, I always loved working with my hands, with different arts, crafts, anything, but, but I'm better at sculpture than I am at drawing. I have taken drawing. I've mastered it, or I've majored in art before, when I went back to school there, but I ended up helping out. Or first, I ended up attending the classes, the welding, blacksmithing, metal fab, and the classes there, and I loved it so much that I went on off nights because he would be there almost every night of the week, on the weeknights, at the class, even on the nights the class wasn't in session, and there were all kinds of students that would, go there and make their own stuff. So I really got into it. I took the welding, course, and learned all different modes of welding, and types of welding. And but I just love the metal art aspect of it, and even, you know, I I the picture on this video is like my third or fourth project. I was a pretty noob at it, but what we would do is he taught me, we would find a flower in nature or buy a flower and make a pattern off of it, because I love to do things like that. And so he was like, well, let's get a real one and make up. And so we would pick it apart and make a pattern off of all the different petals and pieces and the stamen and everything. And it was so cool. And so my first flower project was an orchid. It was an orchid box for my mother that I made, and so that's the picture on the front. But it was like I was still really green at it. But I just love working with a forge and fire. And it's like, yeah, you get burned a couple of times, but if you practice safety, you wear, safety glasses, all that stuff. It's like you learn. There's like you there's just something really mesmerizing and therapeutical about it. Same with water, swimming. You work with air, you can hang glide, or you can just like, stand outside in the wind and, just commune with it. Um, and earth, it's like you're working with earth. When you're blacksmithing, you're working with metal, and fire. So it's like, and the metal becomes or I'm sorry, yeah, the metal becomes like clay almost if you get it hot and you know where to hammer and you get skilled at hammering it and using different hammers. And the cool thing about this thing was I had to make all of my tools. And I got a, he actually helped, or actually, no, that was later. I actually ended up working with him, with my mentor, and we would make art, metal art. So I ended up helping out in the classroom, like an aide. And then he was like kind of like a surrogate father. He was so cool. He was an old cowboy. But anyway, we would make metal art, like we would make chili peppers, like 3D chili peppers out of pipe. We would make like ristras and things out of metal. And we would make barbecue tools, all kinds of barbecue, really cool, like long, and just things like that. And we would go to Santa Fe, Taos, New Mexico, to like the resort towns in Santa Fe. And then we'd go to Scottsdale, Arizona for our sculptures. And we would have them on exhibit there in the galleries. And I just absolutely have never loved anything more than working with earth and fire. But and I love to swim. I mean, I swim almost every day. So I love water. I'm a double water sign, and I love to go to the river and camping near bodies of water. And it just, it's really good to spend time with the elements. And you just have a wonderful respect for each other. And you know, it's a therapeutic thing. It really is, especially if you're not doing it for work all the time. Oh, and I was going to say later on, okay, so I'd served 3-year apprenticeship under my mentor and the professor there. And then we ended up working with each other and selling stuff, around Arizona until I had to move. And after I moved, we moved to Ashford, or I'm sorry, not Ashford, Ashland, not Ashland, but Medford, Oregon, for 1 year. And I went to work like at the Ashland Forge there, which is a historical forge, a blacksmithing shop. And I worked for Dennis DeBay, and he was a wonderful, wonderful boss. I loved him, and it was so cool working there too. So we got to do like this huge fence around a property that had grape leaves, and again took patterns off of different leaf. It was different leaf shapes, throughout there on this huge fence and branches, and it was just really cool. I did like 2,500 different leaves, and yeah, just I love working with. So just, I mean, even if it's not your regular job, you can, or you don't want to do that for work, just spend time with it and do it for a hobby, because it is therapeutic. It really is, And what's another thing that's kind of funny, this side note, is that most of the students at the in the classes, the blacksmithing classes, were firefighters. So like on their off time, they're playing with fire. So I just thought that was kind of amusing. I thought about it. I'm like, oh, okay. But anyway, I love you guys. I just hope this helps, a little bit. I don't know, just amusing or a thought, but I hope it helps, because it is very therapeutic. I find it. Even gardening, working with earth. There's so many different things to work with the elements that you can do that are so fulfilling. They're really fulfilling, and just very, it can give you a sense of peace and help balance you out and ground you. So, landscaping, whatever it is, it's like, as long as you're working with nature and with your hands, it's just, even as a hobby, it's really important to do, I think. Anyway, again, I love you guys, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.